What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content daily. We also stream over on Twitch at This Is After Sound, so come by and say hello. All right, so I wanted to, I suppose, offer a little bit of hopium. I feel like a lot of my videos have been a little critical or negative lately, and that is not necessarily the intention, but just kind of looking back. You know, we're in a weird period right now. I look at it as an accumulation phase. I look at it as a great time to get into the game and level up your deck. But, you know, a lot of people who were here 6-7 months ago when I started, they're hurting right now. And I get it because I'm right there with you. I'm hurting. I bought SPS when it was at 80 cents. I bought O'Shaughnessy's when they were $50. I'm right there with you, and sometimes it's difficult to see the forest through the trees. Sometimes it's difficult to really take that long-term view, especially when the world is crazy right now. So basically, in listening to the town hall today, and I still haven't even gotten through the entire thing. I'm catching up. It's been a bit of a busy day, but don't worry. The 5 biggest takeaways will come out probably sometime tomorrow. And but this was something that I was like going to put on there as one of the takeaways, but really I feel like it was enough to kind of warrant its own video, or at least as an idea, and hopefully as a conversation starter for here that we can continue in the comments. What I'm gathering from the Splinterlands team and from the actions that they're taking is that Splinterlands is not a game. And well, let me put it this way, and I know, sorry, clickbait title, I'm going to call myself out every time I do it. It's not just a game. Splinterlands really is a brand, and they are taking all the steps to get their brand out there. And one of the things that was talked about in a lot of different areas, right? That's why I said it wasn't really like something specific within the town hall, but just across the board. One of the big things is like how the team is looking to see how Splinterlands can infiltrate and penetrate through culture, right? Popular culture. And obviously the Waka Flocka was a big part of that. Waka Flocka promo. There's talks about other promos in the future, and really just getting this into the gaming culture. Esports is a huge route for that. Streaming is another huge route for that, right? Somewhat connected. But beyond that, even just like Nate, for example, talking about, okay, we're going to design cards in the future, and we're looking to see how these will be different than or these are going to be different from the previous ones, primarily due to the fact that they are planning long term. It's just like, okay, now you have card art. How do you create card art that is easy to animate, that is easy to create, some kind of other types of media around, right? People are talking about comic books. People are talking about, not people, but I guess the team, but, at some point in the future, cartoon, Netflix show, who knows, right? So there's really this push around the intellectual property. And I think what makes a lot of sense to me, and this is something that I'm having a way more appreciation for. I'm having a lot more appreciation for doing obviously some of the music and focusing on the areas there. But the lore is huge, because looking across other games right now, and again, my viewpoint is limited. I dabble in some other games here and there, and I'm looking, but the lore in Splinterlands is so deep, and it reminds me of like some of the other fantasy themed favorite series, things like Game of Thrones, things like Lord of the Rings, right? Like obviously this is a little bit different than those, but in a good way, in a unique way. There are storylines being built, and the depth of these stories, the depth of the characters and their experiences is something that can shine through in so many different areas. So, one of the things is like people are just like, oh, like they overlook lore and they just want, make the card and put it out there. But I really appreciate the way the team and I guess when we're talking about lore, specifically Nate and the creative team are approaching this, because it's really incredible. And what it's doing is setting up Splinterlands to be hopefully a popular and potentially even dominant type of intellectual property in the space, right? Like, look around the rest of the crypto and, well, not crypto, but the rest of like the NFT gaming space. And I'm not saying this as a challenge, but really just as a request. Like, if you can find another game that is really creating the types of the word I keep coming back to is like depth, but like that's creating these types of stories, this lore, this just atmosphere around the characters, around what's happening within the game. That to me, like, I don't know, it makes me very, very excited because it's easy to look at this and say like, okay, I got this many SPS tokens, I got this many cards, I got this much DEC, and this, when I play the game, this is how much I earn and whatever. Like, but you kind of get caught up, losing the forest through the trees. You're just looking at kind of all the small little things that make up something that's greater than the sum of its parts. And so, obviously, there's always talk during the town halls of like Pokemon or Magic the Gathering, or I think even like something like Yu-Gi-Oh was mentioned. I don't have much experience with Yu-Gi-Oh, so maybe that shouldn't have been included. But I used to read the novels from Magic the Gathering. I found them fascinating and interesting. There was this whole backstory, and it was beyond just like, who are these characters in these cards, and that's what this reminds me of, right? So there's to me so much that could be done with Splinterlands, and there's so much more coming in the future. And the problem is that there's just a bottleneck right now because of the fact that development is slow, sorry, I shouldn't say slow. Development takes time, creative takes time, like putting all of these things together takes time. So what does this mean for the future, and why does that make me bullish, and what are some of the things that I can kind of provide as a counter argument to my own bullishness, right? So obviously I've listed out most of the reasons why. It's just like, it's a brand. There's going to be intellectual property. There's going to be a lot of really cool things that I believe will come to the Splinterlands ecosystem due to the fact that the team is so focused on really penetrating culture in a positive way, right? Like really getting people to, I mean, I don't know. I can't even think of a card off the top of my head, but like, let's look at, let's look at Chaos Legion cards. And I'm trying to look to see what is the cutest card here, right? Like Scavo Fireball looks like Scavo, or Scavo Chemist. Like these guys look like they could be some cool plushy toys. Or obviously Byzantine Kitty, right? Like Byzantine Kitty could be a plushie toy, and I think they're even talking about getting that as a plushie toy. But the thing is, you create a character around Byzantine Kitty. Was it Untamed? Oh, it's because I don't own these cards. You create a character around Byzantine Kitty, you make that character animated and do cute things, and all of a sudden you have something that's like a Pikachu that people who don't necessarily want to play the game or aren't interested in the game will find cute and want to get in. Right now, I'm kind of parroting something that Weirdbeard said, so I'm really trying to bring in all of these different areas that I've been hearing, not just from today's town hall, but over the past couple of months, really. So the way that it's all coming together for me is exciting. Now, what does this mean in the long run? And what are the potential pitfalls and maybe things that we could be blind to? Well, here's the thing. Splinterlands is a brand. It's growing as a brand, and they are bringing in new partners like Warner Music. They're bringing in all these other things. They're creating other games and other, avenues outside of the Splinterlands game itself. And so the fear there, right, naturally would be, okay, well, this makes me a little nervous because what if there's not a lot of cross compatibility? What if you have 1 million people buying Byzantine Kitty plushies, but that does nothing to raise the value of the cards in the game or of SPS or, give utility to DEC? So all these things that we're doing, how connected are they? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like the game could become super popular. Sorry, the brand could become super popular, but that may not filter down to the game in many ways. And at the end of the day, if you're not bringing people into the game and you're not creating demand, and not artificial demand, but like real solid demand on these cards, on the assets, that's not going to raise the value and drive value to these things. Now, I'm saying that because that, to me, I think is a logical and legitimate fear. But at the same time, to once again counterpoint myself, everything that we've seen the team do has been to drive value to the assets, right? Like they have done everything they can to reward the people that have invested the most into these games. And I don't think that that's going to change. So again, That's just me. That's my belief. That's why I'm stacking as much SPS as possible. That's why I'm leveling up my deck here and there, and why I want to level up my deck in the long run as a player. But really, and SPS is the worst proxy, or it's not the best proxy for like ownership in a game. But again, it's one of those things where, to me, I want to own as much SPS as possible, because that is the governance token. That is the token that can decide in the future many things for this game, including how millions of dollars in the future potentially get spent once Rift Watchers adds to the SPS fund, right? The DAO. And so, there's a lot of interesting things coming. I love the energy that the team has when they jump on the town halls, and I love their outlook, and it sucks that they can't share a lot of the things that they're working on with us. So yes, there is a level of faith. There's a little leap that you need to take to trust that the team is actually working on the things that they say they're working on. But again, one of the reasons that I'm playing this game as opposed to any of the others out there is because of the fact that, one, it is a game that is addictive and that I enjoy playing, and two, this team has a proven track record of really doing the best of their ability of driving value to all of the assets that are underneath the Splinterlands game. Now, my hope and my expectation and what I'm planning for in the future is that they will continue to drive value to all Splinterlands assets under the Splinterlands banner, right? Not just the game, but just taking everything back in and hopefully having that filter back through the game. So that's just a preliminary thought on this, and something I wanted to share that was kind of outside the scope of any like major takeaway from the town hall. So let me know what your thoughts are. Again, this is something that I've been kind of mulling over the last couple of weeks, and now just kind of found or was able to organize my thoughts in a way to speak to it a little more conclusively. So that's where I'm at. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for where this is going. I think it's a lot to ask in many ways, and at the same time, it's almost like it should be a given. But I think we do need to be patient, and I do think we just need to trust that the team is really trying to bring us the best experience possible. So it's not easy, and the rest of the market and the tension in the market and the tension in the world is not making it any easier. But I'm hopeful, and I'm actually not just hopeful, I'm excited about what is coming in the future, because you have to keep in mind, we're in the thick of Chaos Legion right now, and it's going slow, and Rift Watchers is right around the corner, and it's going to be what it is. But further down the line, this team has ideas already for Rebellion and what comes next, and how to really optimize the intellectual property within Splinterlands to get the most out of it and reach the mass audience. So I am pumped for this game. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that we're going to reach like, Nintendo Pokemon types of levels, but this is something to me that feels, and I will clarify and disclaim this, it feels, even 7 months in for me, it feels like we're still so early, right? And I hate to say that because it's such a loaded like term, but it just feels like we're really at the precipice of something. Even with Chaos Legion kind of being in this lull period, we've had a lot, the tide came in, it brought a lot of players, and then it swept out. But when it swept out, it left a lot of people, myself included, and I'm sure many others who've joined in the last 7 months who've discovered this and are now hooked. So that's all I have for you guys in this video today. Let me know your thoughts. If I'm too out there for you, let me know. But if this is something that kind of resonates with you, or if you have any other thoughts that you want to share, please let me know in the comments below. I will catch you all in the next video, and I will see you around the game. Take care.